Maybe are you bullish Europe in any way?
Well, Kuppy, it's okay. I'm mixed here. Own a lot of European stocks still from, buying them in 2022 as part of the so I'm long a lot of European banks and some other things, but so I here's my two views. One, on the macro side, this is such a fork in the road, and they are going so the wrong way right now, and this is going to have multi-year ramifications. There is a game-changing new technology, and the US is totally on the ball, firing ahead. I know there's questions
Well,
about the
the EU
capital.
doesn't know how to regulate AI yet, so they don't even know what to do. They're still sitting around trying to figure out how to regulate it.
It's like the internet just got invented, and this is such a mistake.
But
What
there's
they're
no
doing.
earnings, so they can't tax it. So all I can do is regulate it.
So on the one hand, I go, oh, wow, they are so missing a paradigm changing technology that the US is going to pull away in ways over the next 10 years from this mistake tremendously. I feel like what they're doing, while the US is focused on the most premier new technologies, China the same way, Europe is sticking to the net zero paradigm. And I'm like, this is a train smash. Europe could be the new emerging market. Lots of debt. If you have a lot of debt, which the US does as well, you better be focused on growth, because that's the only way out of this. If you're sitting there thinking, how can we shrink our economy and our carbon emissions to zero while we have an aging population, an immigration crisis, and a lot of debt, it just sounds like a terrible, terrible combination. That all said, okay. So my point here is the macro, the news headlines, and maybe this all shifts, right? Europe could go through a political shift a little bit, right? And there could be a positive response, like, hey, Europe kind of gets their act together and goes, wow, this is ridiculous. And there are the starts of that. But the point I wanted to say more is the companies are already shifting. The interesting thing, when I look at the company by company, I go, okay, there's the view of Europe, but then there's the companies. And what's the valuation? What's the business? And what you find is when you dig into the details of each European company, most of them are very global. They've already diversified their business. Mercedes, for example, moving their R&D center to Shanghai. The biggest manufacturing plant for Mercedes is Spartanburg, which is that Virginia or
It
something?
reminds me of South African companies that dumped all the South African assets.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, be careful that you're painting these brush on European stocks because of how much you are disparaging about Europe. Just make sure like Total, right? There are a lot in Africa. They're increasingly moving their business. A lot of the companies are quietly just as frustrated as you are and reorientating their business to Eastern Europe. Moving manufacturing out of Germany or buying assets in the US, trying to see if they can get their shares, move their primary listing to the New York Stock Exchange.
But basically, Europe itself is just fucked. And
Yes,
as the brain drain accelerates and all the businesses leave, they're going to be left sitting in caves in the dark hunting mastodons.
but the listing might still be in Europe.